Alright, so recently Dricus Du Plessis beat Sean Strickland at UFC 312, which means that his next opponent is going to be Khamzat Chimaev, one of the greatest grapplers in MMA history. This fight is really incredible because it's kind of like when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force, and I'm really hyped for this fight. Anyway, let me know who you guys would have in this matchup, whether it's Dricus Du Plessis or Khamzat Chimaev, and while you're down there, I'd appreciate if you could like subscribe. We're really close to 520 subs. I think we're like one sub off. Anyway, let me get into it. In my opinion, what makes this fight so interesting, because it really is like when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, because you have Dricus Du Plessis who's built like a fridge, okay? This guy genuinely seems unfinishable, okay? His will alone, like regardless of his build, this guy's will is absolutely crazy. He literally will be gassed, but still will come at you for the rest of the fight. And then you have Khamzat Chimaev, who's finishing almost everybody in the first round and looks insane on the ground. The guy looks absolutely unstoppable. And if you had asked me before the Sean Strickland fight who wins, Dricus Du Plessis or Khamzat Chimaev, I probably would have said Khamzat Chimaev by a first round sub very easily, okay? Dricus Du Plessis was very wild, and I think that would have benefited Khamzat. But in the Sean Strickland fight, the guy looked really technically good rather than the big meaty overhand merchant he usually is, you know? So I think he would give a lot of problems for Khamzat on the feet. He would have already given Khamzat problems on the feet before this, but now he's so like technically good to where I don't think Khamzat is going to be able to just take him down easily. There's no like wild openings anymore to where he can maybe just like get a trip in or something. No, bro. Dricus Du Plessis is basically like, he was almost perfect on the feet, okay? I know it was Sean Strickland and he didn't really look at his best, but that is still very impressive to do to Sean Strickland, okay? Khamzat Chimaev is not Sean Strickland, okay? He doesn't really have striking to that level, which means that Dricus Du Plessis will most likely pick apart Khamzat on the feet. Just absolutely piece him up over 5 rounds. If it's always on the feet, he's going to absolutely piece him apart, okay? And the thing is, Khamzat doesn't really have, you know, he doesn't have terrible striking. He's not like an absolutely, you know, dog shit striker or anything. He actually does have pretty good striking. He has good power, you know, has decent boxing. But it's really not even close to the level of Dricus Du Plessis, or at least what we saw against Sean Strickland. But ultimately, the real question in this matchup is the grappling, okay? Can Dricus Du Plessis stop the takedowns? Not can he survive round 1, okay? This surviving round 1 thing, this whole narrative really needs to stop, okay? Because it's so stupid, okay? Khamzat Chimaev, he doesn't have this cardio that everyone's talking about, where Khamzat Chimaev has like this Shamil Gaziev heavyweight type gas tank where he just gasses out 30 seconds into the fight. That is so dumb, okay? Like, when has this ever happened? Like, seriously, in the Gilbert Burns fight, he was throwing the most amount of strikes. He threw more than Gilbert in round 3. And Kamaru Usman, the guy broke his hand, okay? He wasn't even really that gassed, okay? And even then, even if you did think he was, like, super gassed in the Usman and Burns fight, if you look at the Robert Whittaker fight, the guy was so much more efficient with his grappling that I think he could have just gone 5 rounds doing that. Even if he didn't get the finish, he could have easily gone 5 rounds. The guy wasn't even tired at all. He wasn't setting a crazy pace. He's learned to slow down a bit. Even though he did get the finish in round 1, he seems to have moved away from that absolutely like wild style where he's just trying to kill you the moment the bell rings, okay? He's trying to be a lot more smart with his grappling, and I think that's a very good thing, and it's going to work way better at a higher level, because early on, obviously, that's very good because you're just fighting absolute cans and you can submit them very easily, but you're not going to be able to submit guys like Dricus Du Plessis and like any other high level grapplers. So I think it's good that he's moved away from that style, but that is not something that Dricus Du Plessis really should be concerned with. Can I make it out of round 1? Like, again, even with Robert Whittaker, even if he did make it out of round 1, he most likely would have just got taken down again. I mean, you just saw the speed of his shot the first time. Robert Whittaker didn't really learn anything from getting taken down and taking his back immediately. That, you know, he probably would have been able to do that for all 5 rounds. Anyway, the real question is, can Dricus Du Plessis stop the takedowns of Khamzat Chimaev? Because DDP is very smart, okay, but at the same time, he can be kind of wild on the ground. He's kind of wild everywhere, but he seems to have, like, gotten smarter as well in the striking, but we don't know if that's changed in the grappling too. But I think if Dricus Du Plessis gets taken down, there's really only 2 things that can happen. Either Dricus Du Plessis, you know, tries to get back up to the feet immediately, and he's kind of wild, and he's trying to immediately scramble and get back up. He could get submitted, okay? Like, I think Khamzat Chimaev is so good with submissions. He's so fast. He's very, like, dexterous as well. If he gets, like, you know, gets Dricus Du Plessis, like, mid-scramble and manages to get his neck, that is very bad for Dricus Du Plessis. But the thing is, DDP is very smart. He's a very smart guy. You can see it in his game plans. I don't think he will, you know, try and do that immediately, but at the same time, he might. But the other option is him realizing that if he scrambles, he's kind of finished, and he just sits there and lays on his, you know, lets Khamzat sit on his back or sit on top of him, pause. But, you know, that is probably the 2 options for Dricus Du Plessis, and letting Khamzat Chimaev just on top of you like that, pause, that's just not going to be good, okay? On the scorecards, it's going to be terrible. On top of that, Khamzat Chimaev, he could find ground and pound, he could find submissions. Again, that's not a very good second option either. There's not really much options. Obviously, Dricus Du Plessis could get back to his feet, But Khamzat Chimaev is not a guy you want to risk that type of thing against, where you want to turtle and maybe he takes your back or something. That is not something you want to do. So I think Dricus Du Plessis either can just stay on the ground or maybe scramble and possibly get submitted. So those two options are terrible. But if he doesn't get taken down, he can completely avoid that, obviously. But the thing is, how does he stop that? And I think Dricus Du Plessis is the perfect guy to not get taken down by Chimaev. Again, look at his build. He's already a very hard guy to take down. But the thing is, with Dricus Du Plessis, he will just keep going forward again and again. And I think that's going to be very bad for Chimaev, because he's going to struggle very bad with shooting on Dricus when he's coming at him rather than when he's against the cage. And again, Dricus Du Plessis is very smart. I already know his game plan is probably going to be something like this. Probably going to be pressuring Chimaev against the fence and trying to just pick him apart. That is what Dricus Du Plessis is going to do. He's obviously the better striker there. And Khamzat Chimaev, very unlikely he's going to knock out Dricus Du Plessis. I really do not see that happening. Maybe he could. Again, maybe there's some like random chance where Khamzat Chimaev throws an uppercut, catches Dricus Du Plessis perfectly. That's just very unlikely. And on top of that, Dricus Du Plessis is one of the few guys who could probably actually do this, because if you look at guys like Strickland and Adesanya, they don't really have the power or really the will to even go forward like that. They're going to be going back as well. But the thing is, with Dricus Du Plessis, the guy has so much power that Khamzat Chimaev is, he's not going to want to just rush in and maybe shoot a takedown blind, because again, Dricus Du Plessis is very skilled. He's probably going to be practicing sprawling a lot going up to the fight. So I think that's another big thing. So Dricus Du Plessis probably going to be very good at sprawling, going to have a lot of power, have the better striking. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev is just going to go forward and just try and, maybe shoot or try and clinch or even try and box with him. That's just so unlikely. I don't see that happening either. So I think Dricus Du Plessis has a very good chance in this fight now rather than before, because when he was, going wild and just going absolute caveman mode, just throwing every single thing he possibly can, I think Khamzat Chimaev could have found some openings and maybe took him down or tripped him or something. But now I don't really see that as likely, just because of how, calm Dricus Du Plessis was in there against Sean Strickland. But I still think defending that original double leg, okay, I think that's going to be very difficult for Dricus Du Plessis. I feel like no amount of practice can really help you from defending that. The speed is just so fast. I don't really know how many people can really replicate that for Dricus Du Plessis. So I think that's going to be very hard for him. And I still think I would probably lean Chimaev in this fight. Again, because I just don't think Dricus Du Plessis' grappling is really close to Chimaev's. And on top of that, he hasn't really shown any, incredible defense on the ground that's going to make me think, oh man, DDP, this guy's going to, be able to withstand Khamzat's, round one pace or anything. I really doubt that's going to be able to happen. And on top of that, I really don't think it's close in the ground in terms of skill. So I probably would lean Chimaev, but I think Dricus Du Plessis has a very good chance. It's really like a coin flip in my opinion. But I'm still very excited for this fight. Okay, these guys for some reason have a beef. Even though Sean Strickland has some weird, crazy beef with Khamzat Chimaev. But honestly, I could not give a shit about that. Okay, I see some people saying, man, I hope Imavov gets a title shot so we can see Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev. There is no way anyone actually cares about that fight. That is going to be so boring. Sean Strickland's going to get subbed in round one. Where is the hype? Okay, yeah, they're going to trash talk. Well, bro, they can just do that on Twitter, okay, if that's all you really want to see. But yeah, I'm really hyped for Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Hopefully that happens soon. And yeah, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you really enjoyed the video, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider becoming a member. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. All right.